Hey guys, welcome back to Le Vegan Cordon Bleu. Today we are making a recipe that I'm very excited about. It's called Ropfkueche. It is my village's cake. And when I say my village's cake, I mean you can pretty much only buy it in my village. Apparently some guy from the next village over makes it too, but it is from my village and this is where you should be buying it. And so it's been around for a very long time, and it has a brioche base with a nut-based topping. My village produces walnuts, so it's mostly walnuts, but a more modern version incorporates almonds as well. But I think it is very traditionally pure walnuts, no almonds, and that makes sense. My granddad used to harvest walnuts on our walnut tree, so this is the story. So I'm very excited about this one. I've used a recipe that was published in our local newspaper in 1986. The cake is older than this, but this is to tell you about the recipe that I used to veganize our cake as a basis. And so hopefully Kaylee figures out how to put that image on the screen.
I will. Cut that out.
No. We're keeping it in. So yeah, this is my village's cake, Ropfkueche. It is so good. We mostly eat it for breakfast because flour on top of sugar is a healthy breakfast in France. Mm-hmm. But you can also have it as dessert or have it for goûter, so like an afternoon snack. All to say, I'm very excited with this cake. I love this cake. I'm very happy to be sharing it with you. Whenever I'm in France, my dad usually buys it for breakfast, so now we can make it vegan.
Can't wait to try it.
To make my village's cake, we'll have to use some of our usual suspects: the flour, the soy milk, the soy cream. You know my love for it at this point. I'm not going to go over it. Some water, some sliced almonds, some walnuts. I should say that the most traditional version only has walnuts because that's what we grow in my village, but almonds add a nice touch to it. Some cornstarch, some butter, some yeast, some cinnamon, and some sugar. We're going to start by measuring out our sugar. We'll need 50 grams. Okay. Now, to activate the yeast, we're gonna warm up the milk first. We don't want it too hot, but we want it lukewarm hot. We're gonna measure out 125 grams of milk. This is soy milk, unsweetened. You don't want it to be burning hot because that would kill the yeast. So I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and check the temperature. Our milk is warm. I'm now going to measure out about 10 grams out of the 50 grams of sugar that I measured out earlier, and I will add that to the milk. If you're like, I actually did 11 grams. It doesn't really matter exactly how much you do. It's just to activate the yeast. And then we're going to be adding half a tablespoon of yeast to our warm milk. We'll give it a quick stir, and then we'll set it aside for about 10 minutes or so that the yeast activates, and we'll show you what it looks like once it's bubbly and foamy. As you can see, the yeast is now all foamy and bubbly, so we're good to move on to all of the other ingredients. It's been about 5 minutes since we mixed everything together. Now we're going to make a cornstarch egg. This is 3 tablespoons of water. We're adding 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Stirring this. As you can see, it dissolves very easily. And now we can add to our bowl. This is 250 grams of flour. We're going to add a pinch of salt, which admittedly I've left out from the giant ingredients presentation. Add your sugar. your cornstarch egg, your yeast mix, and now we're gonna start stirring. We'll add the butter once we've stirred a little bit. I'm adding little pieces of butter. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. You can see that the dough is not stuck to the sides of the bowl. It's kind of a tiny bit sticky, but not very sticky, and still doesn't stick to everything. I don't know if this is a very good indication of what's happening. I usually do something else while it's kneading, so I rarely actually count the minutes. This is, you can see, like a little bit sticky, but not so sticky that you have it on your fingers by the end of touching it. You could have done all of this by hand as well, but I'm lazy and I did buy this KitchenAid, so I'm using it. Now we're gonna have this dough rest under a clean cloth for an hour in a place without any drafts. In my case, this will be the microwave. All right, off we go for an hour. Our dough has been resting for an hour now. We're gonna butter the pan that we will be using ultimately so that you have no issue taking it out of the pan later. This is our dough now. So this is one where I debated which pan to use because this is going to make it higher and thicker. Some bakeries make it thinner. I went for the thicker one, but depending on how you like it, you may want to use a bigger pan. So we're really stretching the dough at this point and kind of making like a pie crust, except that it's brioche, really. Okay, and now we let it rest for another hour. Our dough has been resting for about an hour. The oven is turned on to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 Celsius. So we're making the topping for the cake. Almonds, walnuts, pinch of salt as always. A good teaspoon of cinnamon. And the soy cream. this is what our dough looks like now. We're gonna flatten it a little bit so that our topping can get into all of the nooks and crannies everywhere. Let's try to spread the nuts somewhat evenly. We now top our cake with tiny pieces of butter. And now we bake for 30 minutes. It's been in the oven for 30 minutes, and now we're ready to take it out of the pan. And now it is time to try the cake. Have a slice.
Any slice?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll start with this little one.
Okay. Oh.
Mmm. So nice and warm still.
But remember, better to get it once it's cold.
But it tastes better fresh from the oven, I think. Maybe not. I see you.
Very good. Very nut forward. Cinnamon.
I'm not big into sweets, and this isn't too sweet. The nuts are very good. Oh, here comes a bad kitty.